Hey, welcome in. Well, I saw this headline. Famed medical journal calls women bodies with vaginas. So I knew I had to take a look at this article. It's from the Lancet. And let's take a look at this article from the famed medical journal, the Lancet. And just doing a quick read through of this, because it's actually hard to read because it's so boring. Here we have, historically, the anatomy and physiology of bodies with vaginas has been neglected. So they do say that. However, if you read a little further, it says, for example, the paucity and understanding of endometriosis and the way women's pain has been seen as more likely to have an emotional and psychological cause, blah, blah, blah. And actually, if you read through this whole article, they do just say women, except in this sentence. But when you look at their tweet here announcing this article, it says, our new issue is here on the cover, periods on display, and the cultural movement against menstrual shame and period poverty. And here we see on their tweet, they have this quote, historically, the anatomy and physiology of bodies with vaginas has been neglected. So that's the sentence that they're trying to publicize here. Even though in the article itself, I mean, that's the only sentence that suggests that women are bodies with vaginas. So why would they pick that sentence? Well, it's a virtue signal, obviously. I mean, the Lancet as a medical journal must know that women have periods, but that's not politically correct these days to say that. So I guess they wanted to publicize it with this sentence that's more woke or is woke. So obviously it's leftist pressure. They feel that cancel culture leftist pressure. And that's the thing with the left now. The pressure is to dehumanize people. They say, things like black bodies and brown bodies, and now bodies with vaginas. Now, in my humble opinion, I think a person is more than just a body. I think a better definition of a person is an individual with their own feelings and ideas and motivations. And of course, the modern left, the modern woke left, hates this definition. They like homogenous groups who do and think as they're told. So they ignore, the brain part of the body and focused on the color or genitals. Or at least that's the front, It seems like what they really, really like is obedience, which you need to have when everything you believe is incoherent, which we've seen with the enormous amount of moral confusion between the radical feminists and trans activists, which is a battle the feminists are losing because the ideology trumps the bodies with vaginas part, just as the ideology trumps the black bodies part. Just ask Larry Elder and that white leftist woman who showed up in a gorilla mask to throw eggs at him, which was something mainstream media ignored, of course, because ideology. And, I personally think that the group identity part of the left that they seem obsessed with simply makes people easier to control and easier to influence. And therefore you get things like bodies with vaginas. And it's the same ideology that has inspired the Lancet here, this Orwellian cultural revolution that continues with all of its attendant doublethink, the bodies with vaginas, except for the bodies with penises that are also women, at least according to whoever writes the words that scroll down Don Lemon's teleprompter. But anyway, I do find this kind of funny because the Lancet's put out something which is just boring first world navel gazing. I mean, unless you'd be fascinated to hear about a new space dedicated to menstruation, an exhibition entitled Periods, A Brief History at the Vagina Museum in London, UK. I mean, Vagina Museum, that's its own punchline, is it not? I mean, I think there's a penis museum somewhere. That's just seen as an amusing curiosity, right? Or there's this here, the silent shame and stigma surrounding menstruation are increasingly being challenged from various cultural domains. Is there really silence and shame and stigma around that anymore? I don't really hear it. But anyway, if you'd like to know more, in a bold, comical, and highly digestible book, It's About Bloody Time, period, Emma Barnett busts taboos about menstruation. I'm highly dubious about the comical and highly digestible part of that sentence, but hey, different strokes for different folks, right? Anyway, that's all I got to say about that. Please subscribe, like, and share. That really helps me out. If you just like to listen, there's the podcast, Radio Baloney. It's on pretty much every platform. If you look for it, you will find it. Thank you very much. I'll see you next time.